afternoon. It's Pashmina P from the Online Authors Office desk and founder of the Online Authors Office. And today I'm here with a legacy maker who I've known for a very, very long time. So I will be referring to her as Auntie in this interview because she has actually been around my life for a very long time, since I was in my mother's womb. So I'd like to introduce you to Kiran Robinson, the author of Seva. How are you, Auntie?
Hello, my darling Pash. How are you this morning, or this afternoon, I should say? It's my 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's probably your 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
How lovely to see you.
Thank you for joining me today. You look absolutely stunning, Auntie.
Oh, thank you. You're gorgeous, sweetheart. Look at you. Look at where you are now. And here you have invited me on your platform. And of course, I'm so touched, so humble. This is such a pleasure and such a delight to be here and talking to you and your lovely viewers.
Oh, thank you so much. You have so much wisdom to share with us, and it's been such a pleasure working with you and being on the journey with you. I mean, you are definitely mentor material. You've taught me many things, and you've imparted your wisdom, which I really want to share, like, with my audience. So the first thing I want to say is that, you've traveled so many places in this world, Auntie. I mean, you're a legacy carrier. You've lived all over the world, and, you've lived in many different continents and experienced so many different nationalities and cultures. So how does it feel to be a global citizen?
Oh, wow. Global citizen. Okay. Um, you know, first of all, my thing is hospitality, right? So hospitality is about building relationships. So how better to build relationships than to be put in different continents to meet so many different people? I'm so grateful for that. And of course, thanks to the continued aid of technology, the internet makes it so easy to reach out to family and friends immediately, therefore keeping all communication current, especially during COVID. It was so hard for me being a relationship builder, to be confined. And I was just like, okay, I need to do something. I need to connect. And yes, I was able to do that. And it was very, very helpful having technology when I was trying to build and organize new communities, having just moved to Luxembourg in Europe, in case people are wondering, what is Luxembourg and where it is? Yes, it is a country, very, very small, 650,000 people here, but nevertheless, it is a duchy and it's a beautiful place. So come visit me, especially you, Pash. It's been a long
time. Yeah, I mean, your roots really lie in Hong Kong. I mean, that's how you met my parents. That's how my parents met you. That's how we were part of the same community, because you were from there. But that's not where you were born, right?
No, I was born in India, in Pune, actually. And I think it was 5 when we moved to Hong Kong. My dad had gone ahead and built a business, and he was like, okay, time to bring family now. So yeah, that's where we grew up. And I spent 38 years of my life there and speak Cantonese fluently. I'm proud to say that was home. And yes, indeed, you're right. I've met your mom and dad there, and it was awesome. Yeah.
It's amazing because I have this story about, like women like you, or even men who grew up in Hong Kong who are Indian. And I say, when we close our eyes and you guys start speaking Cantonese, it's just like as if a native is speaking it. We don't even know if you're really like Indian or Chinese or who you are. So that's so remarkable. Do your children speak Cantonese?
Well, my son does, because he has his own business there, and he's been there for a long time, and he does. Otherwise, it would be a little difficult, getting things done. He does, but the girls know, because we moved to California, and English is, of course, the primary language. Though I did encourage them to speak some Spanish, and they took up a little bit in school. But no, do they speak that? No. But
Mhm.
Avisha, my other daughter who lives in Malawi, Luxembourg, Malawi, Africa, uh, does speak Chichewa, in order
Wow.
to communicate with her people there, that culture. So yeah,
Amazing.
a little bit
Wow.
of here and there.
Yeah, that's
But we
wonderful.
spoil our children, as much as we say, oh, you need to speak in Sindhi and Hindi at home and then take a second, third language in school. It doesn't happen, because we ourselves continue to speak with them in English. So in that case,
Right.
I really appreciate the parents, because the parents were like, no, we're speaking to you in Sindhi at home, and that was it. And literally that's how we learned.
But for
And
us, like Sindhi and Hindi was a secret language. Like you guys would speak it so that it would be a secret. So I guess
right.
most of us did learn Cantonese. I learned Thai. I speak it fluently because I had to communicate with my grandma. And I think my grandma is like someone like an icon who you speak about in your book as well, like she was a great influence on you. Like my grandma was like the secret agent, she spoke to her kids and Hindi to another person and Thai to another person. So she had it all like, set out who she needed to speak to and what language. So it is a shame that I can't
Awesome.
speak Hindi or Sindhi, but it was your guys' private secret language when we were growing up.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up. And the reason it was private and secret is not because, okay, this is who we want to be, or we don't want to talk in front of other people, or we're speaking ill about somebody. It wasn't that. It just gave us pleasure to have that communication with our siblings or our children, having another language, putting our thoughts out there. But, as we grew up, we learned that no, in public, you're not supposed to speak in another language, and it can be offensive and you're not being inclusive and all of that. So I'm actually happy that no, my kids didn't carry on with the secret language thing like we sisters do, because that's not nice.
Yeah. And now you can speak French as well.
I did, so I learned French when I was very young in school, having to take a second language. I did learn that, but then there was no practice at all in Hong Kong. So coming here, having the opportunity of my husband's company providing us with a second language, I did decide during COVID to go ahead and pick up that language. And then, lockdown and all that, you're cut off from people. And then again, you don't get to practice. So I am like, I need to start all over again, And now having built a community of friends, who all speak English, by the way, they've got my message that when we are together, you will speak to me in French. And they're so sweet and they want me to learn. So
That's
that's all
amazing.
right.
So
Starting all over again. It's not easy learning another language at my age.
you do, I mean, that's remarkable. That's so wonderful.
But
And
the love of people draws you to want to
yes,
be part of that community, and you want to learn. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say.
Yeah, and speaking about language, your book Seva, The Art of Hospitality is a wonderful testament also to your travels and how you've influenced many cultures and where the roots of this started. For our audience who doesn't understand what Seva is, I'd love for you to explain what that means to them. And in turn, how do you, as a mentor, an advisor, inject the kiss of life, a kiss of seva into your life? And how would you teach someone like me to do that, like on a daily basis?
Well, seva is a Punjabi word, an Indian word that means selfless service. And what does it mean to seva? What does selfless service actually mean? It means not thinking about yourself, so you are not there, it's about the other person, just like I said earlier. hospitality is all about building relationships. So Seva is about serving others. So you don't put yourself in the equation, it's about the other person. And what I love doing is giving people more than they expect. You know, from looking it through the lens of hospitality, is that's what I mean. You know, when people travel or they're in hotels or restaurants or what have you, which is, you know, has been my life. That's where I worked. They're expecting naturally some sort of service, you know, and that is a business of service. But to be able to give them more than they expect, you know, that is pure hospitality, service, leadership. And that is what I teach and literally inflict on others, you know.
I love it. For
Think about
you.
the other person, you know, they're not expecting. I mean, what you're doing is so general, but go the extra step, you know.
Yeah.
That's about leadership, you know. And that's what I teach. I'm just going to hold up my book a little bit, you know, being a designer and loving creative arts and everything. I thought, let's just talk about the picture for a second. I thought this was like an attention grabber, you know. Why is this flower exploding, you know? What is the artist talking about? And I think a little bit of my life is about this, you know, the art, the creativity, and doing more. It's like boom, you know, wanting to do more, reach out further. And it was actually COVID that helped me got my book started. You know, being in working at Stanford for 17 years, it just totally consumes you, you know, not in a bad way, in a good way. But you don't have that time to, hey, I always wanted to write my book. And then suddenly you come here knowing that you're not going to go back, you know, anything can happen. Well, why don't I write my book? And that's where you came into the picture and you said, come on, Auntie, let's do this.
It's just a
Like,
wonderful book. I mean, you have
thank
anecdotal
you.
pieces with practices. I think that, you know, you have like your little wisdoms that you impart to us, which brings me like to ask you, I mean, like Seva is the art of hospitality, giving more than you get. From a realistic point of view, does it get tiring to do that sometimes?
No, not at all. It invigorates me, you know, it excites me, it gives me stamina, it empowers me. I love people. And if I meet one new person every day, it's like, hallelujah.
I love it. That's
I love
amazing.
it. Love
Yeah.
it. Can you imagine a silent world?
Yeah.
I can't imagine a silent word. You
Yeah.
know, even with my with my children and my sisters and all, I am constantly preaching about use your words, you know, whether you're writing them
Yeah.
or speaking them, you know, use your words. Words say a lot, you know, keep talking, just
Yeah.
like me. Talking is serving. You never know when you run into a person, and this has certainly happened to me. You know, it's kind of like a gift of kindness, you know, talking to people. You never know who you're going to attract, what their needs are, if you don't open yourself and communicate with them, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a whole new world when you do that, you know.
Yeah. And
It's
you've always been that very giving person. I mean, you're a person who understands the art of that. So it is basically an art, and you inject that philosophy into your life, I think, on a daily basis.
yeah, yeah. You know, it's I think it's a gift, it's a calling. So yesterday, as I was, you know, getting excited, looking forward to our uh, conversations this morning, I said, hey, I haven't done the C test yet, you know, the character test. And a friend of mine, I just did her article on female fingerprints and published it on Sunday.
Yeah.
She's a wellness expert, and she said, she had asked me, Kiran, have you done the C test? I said, no. And she sent it to me yesterday. I said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to prepare myself for passion. Hopefully get a word in about this. I did that. And my 5 top gifts, the first one is kindness. And I was like,
Wow.
wow. bang on, you know. And
Yeah.
it's true, when you take the test, they say it helps you in understanding, having done the survey, the test, it helps you in understanding that these are your qualities, because that's when you can, you know, just focus on them and see that, okay, this is your gift or your calling, and what more can you do with this? Where can you go with this now that you know that this is one of them, you know, or
Yeah.
these are the top 5 that you have? Where can you go? And I think that's helpful. I'm going to focus in on a little bit and look into it and see how I can expand on this, you know.
And I want to expand on that notion of kindness in your philanthropy. First of all, can you tell us about the Malawi Children Foundation, how you help those children, and tell us a little bit about female fingerprints and how that has helped empower women, because I've been on that platform, and thank you so much. And that really helped me to give a voice to the business or what I was trying to do for my office.
Oh,
Over.
I love that. Thank you. I love that. Okay, so let's just go with that first,
Yeah.
since, you know, we're just talking about that. So, so here I am, COVID, and I write my book, and I'm just going to hold it up again in case some people missed it, you know, and you can go on Amazon and get your gift. Actually, this is an appropriate time with the holidays coming around the corner, you know. If
Definitely.
you give a gift to a special person, this would be an awesome read. So I wrote the book, and there were things happening. There was like the International Women's Day, and I was given an opportunity on healing our earth, and this was all on Zoom. We went live. I think it was like 43 countries, and I was interviewing some of the most, you know, some of the top women who are in the world, active world of Seva as well, you know. And it was so empowering talking to these women, and what they're doing was so amazing. I was like, I think I need to have my own platform, and I am going to refer to Substack and start doing articles just on female fingerprints. I was already doing my articles, blogging on food and travel and all of that. I said, but I'm going to add this feature on and focus primarily on women, you know, empowering them. I know it's been hard during COVID. You know, some women are stuck at home. Some women are probably thinking, how are we going to reinvent ourselves? How are we going to pivot, come out in the world again? What are we going to do? I thought this would be an amazing project to hone in on women and their talents and where they can go, you know, their next steps and all that. And what am I going to call it? Well, something. I love the you know, the double words, that the first letter starts with the second letter. I love things like that. Just a little catchy, you know, not to be gimmicky, but just a little catchy, and makes it easy to roll out on the tongue. And I was like, what do women do? What did I do? Well, I left my fingerprints here and there and there and there. Why don't we put it together? Oh, we'll call it female fingerprints. How catchy is that? You know?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. But what I wanted to do was, I didn't want to just focus on, oh, whom I know or whatever. I said, here's my reach. Again, you know, being the hospitality mayhem, if you will, you know, let's go out and let's go global. Okay, but I'm going to start with Luxembourg, where I am. So I met this woman, and we become best friends now. And I interviewed Xenia, so she was my first feature. And then I said, okay, now I'm going to go to Pashmina in Thailand, and then I'm going to do someone in California. And that's how I rolled out. And it's been such a phenomenon. It's been such a success. Women from all over the world stepping forward and giving all of their all, sharing their journeys and their stories, which then inspires other women. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
And I
That
love
that It's like a
title.
gift that keeps on giving,
Yes,
essentially,
and I
which is
love the
exactly.
way you say that you yourself left your fingerprints everywhere. I mean, we always talk about DNA and our DNA footprint, but this is beautiful that you're giving women the chance to have their voice through their fingerprints, which is like wonderful. And you're crossing their continent bridge and you're helping them cross the continent bridge as well. Going
Yeah.
all over the world and finding these women that have maybe inspired you or helped you in some way. That's also, I think, a way of doing philanthropy and seva too.
Yeah, but Pash, it's been such a wonderful journey because when you're giving, you are also receiving at the
Yeah,
same time. It's so
yeah,
rewarding, whether
yeah.
it's knowledge, or whether they give me goosebumps and say, "Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? I want to do that too." I'm constantly that. I want to do that too. I want to be engaged. I want to help you, and it has really grown in that aspect where putting us and making new friends, we're putting ourselves in a position where we're saying to each other collectively is that I am here, I celebrate you, and I want to support you. And immediately we're connecting. Oh, you should, meet so and so, and I'm going to send you an email connecting you with so and so, and the world just, it just opens up.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
wonderful. It's beautiful.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just tell us a little bit about the Malawi Foundation, and then I'm gonna
So
ask you another
yes,
question
so
because
Malawi Children's Mission is located in Malawi, in a little village, some distance away. And Sean and I, my husband Sean and I, were the founders, together with a very good friend Stephen Kaufman, an American from New York, and he and Sean actually met in Hong Kong, and Stephen used to live in Hong Kong at that time, and they're best friends. And we said we want to do something together. My daughter had just got married. She married a Malawian in Malawi in Africa, and we said, perfect, she's going to be the conduit here, and she will help us with this. So the two men, Sean and Stephen, get on a plane, they fly to Malawi, and they go meet the chief of the village, and they say, we want to help some of the
wow,
litigants here, the vulnerable children. And my whole thing was, nutrition, water. I remember my dad had wanted to support the underprivileged children in Pune in India, talking about years back, and I would travel with him, and he wanted to just build a well in the middle of the street,
wow.
just for water for people passing by. And I think I got a little bit of that from him. And I said, I think the first main thing is water, and then we'll talk about food. But oh my gosh, it just, it just flourished. We ended up, we started with 69 or 79 children, and then it became 200 plus, and then we were offering healthcare, education, which is, again, for me, it's a huge deal, very important. So we're feeding, we're nourishing, we're providing healthcare, education, and then sending them to university. Thank you to all of our donors, and everybody around the world. And we were doing that, and it's just grown and flourished. And today, as I am writing about female fingerprints, those young girls who have been there for 11, 15 years, we started this 16 years ago, they are now graduating, and sharing their stories with me, which I'm, featuring in Female Fingerprints. And one of them says, I'm going to do hospitality. Well, what an honor. What
Yes.
an honor. In like a whole circle right there. It's amazing. So we continue to cherish our charity, and it's blooming, and we're very proud to say that we have been instrumental in some of the children's lives. Not that it hasn't been hard.
Mhm.
There has been much adversity because of all the illnesses you can imagine in Africa,
Yeah.
but God is good. God is good.
It's
Thank you for having
amazing. Yeah, I mean, I follow you on Facebook and I see everything, and it's just, I mean, I hope that this video can help people see you and connect with you, because you're very easy to connect with. And I mean,
me.
there's just so much wisdom and so many stories. We could sit here for hours on end. I mean, we always look forward to our Zoom calls because I'm just listening intently, hoping that you
Yes.
can, bear me some fruit of wisdom so that I don't make mistakes again, and tell me about my childhood and how things are different now. So I mean, you have that, which is so commendable, and so how do you call it, trustworthy, with all the work that you're doing, and it's wonderful to have that out there. So before we go, I with all of this and everything that you've done, what would be your legacy quote? How do you want people to remember you?
Um, it's a good question, Pash, and I have a little bit a different view of the way I look at legacy. Okay, so
Mhm.
for me, I feel like a legacy is a shared experience with others. And I want to be intentional about this. Okay, so for me, it's all about relationships. I was very fortunate that I had my grandmother hand me her legacy. And again, in my book, I start with my grandmother, the story of how she, teaches me to do things. And of course, it's all in the book. And then I had a thought. I felt that my readership should know a little bit more about my grandmother as far as what she, not just in her thoughts and mind, how she spoke to me and handed me the legacy, but physically what she did for me. So I decided to bookend my grandmother's story, her legacy. So I have it in the beginning, and then I did an epilogue of that, just to show that, yes, this is the treasure, what she gave me. So my legacy is for my family and for my friends, and of course, my grandmother plays a big part as she shared that. But most importantly, she shared the gift of Seva, again, which means to serve selflessly. And this helped me to become me. So I cherish that. What's my quote? I love that. I love that you asked that. My quote, how I want to be remembered, is she lived for others.
Wow.
She lived for others. Now, that's not an act of selfishness, to say I lived for others, because the others also means what? Family, friends. There are others too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Auntie. It's, every time I speak to you, I know that we have just a limited time today, but every time I speak to you, I just feel like my heart opens up and my brain opens up a little bit more. And it's always a pleasure hanging out with you, talking to you, and like, brainstorming about things and sharing ideas with each other, because you really do bring the art of Seva to my life. You give it to me, and hopefully I reciprocate that in return somehow. And I want to be remembered that for giving as well. So you've really taught me a lot, since I was born.
You are so precious, Pash. Continue to bloom and shine and soar like you are. You're amazing. You yourself have a huge, phenomenal gift that I don't know. I hope everybody tells you that every single day. The gift of giving others, and that's what you do. So appreciate you, love you. Thank you for your time.
And thank you
Can't
so
wait
much,
to do more of this with you again.
Absolutely.